Hi, this is Emily in my Etsy store's yesterday stash, and I'm a thrifter. I go to thrift stores as much as I can, and when I feel like I've gotten too much, then I stay away from the thrift stores. But 99% of what I work with for my junk journals are from thrift stores, and I wanted to show you some things that I have found that give me ideas. So, for instance, if I kind of get on a lull where I feel like I don't have any more energy to be creative, I go to the thrift store and I get all these ideas. So here's some of the things that I have found that have been, ribbon is one area that I go to all the time when I go to a thrift store. And this a spool of ribbon. I like to make either ruffle on the end of a page or either have it where I stitch in the very middle of the and excuse my hands because I can see here that I have been doing some staining or some dyeing. But anyway, here's an example of one that I found. That was 89 cents. And then this one is $2. And where I found it was, what I found it could do is I pulled out the wire. So here's the wire that I pulled out, and I thought that I would experiment with this to see if I could make pleats or gathers or by pulling out the wire. So here's an example of I played around to see that if it would work because I paid $2 for it, so I wanted to make sure I got my money's worth. I'll probably press this, but if you take this and put it on a page, it does work that way. And then, like I say, I probably will use it to push this over a little bit and then have the seam running down the middle. I found for $2, I found all of these embossing powders. They have them in all different colors. Here's some on the back. This is called Stampendous. Stampendous, and it is www.stampendous.com. A lot of the things that I find are kind of out of date or are not usable, to try to find them wouldn't really work. So here's another one example that I found, and I thought how neat this would be to wrap around a journal once it's done, depending on the style of journal that I put together. This is, what does it say? It says it's suede and trim, a value pack. It's 3 yards, and it was $1. I also have found that using hem tape and seam binding works really good for putting, lacy finishes on a page. And the new ones that are unopened will cost 75 cents. And then the ones that are almost gone, they charge 25 cents for. And then if they're opened at all, then they take them down to 50 cents. And this is one that's 25 cents. So just giving you an idea that seam binding is a really, whenever I get to the point where if I need a certain color blue or a certain color pink or whatever to add, the seam binding really helps. Here's another couple of ribbons. This one was never used, and it was 89 cents. And it has a nice kind of a, what is it called? It's called a botanica. So that the design in it is of trees and bushes. That was an interesting find. And then this one is baby carriages. So I'm getting ready to make a baby carriage book or a baby for a girl. So I'll use that. And this was unopened, so it was $2. And then I also have found a lot of, let's see, doilies, particularly heart and different colors. This one is 75 cents. And it was a green, which would be good for the holidays. And then this is just a plain white. And if it looks like it's been opened, then they charge. Or if they have a whole abundance of them, then they charge less. Here's a couple of things that I found that were interesting. This is Tim Holtz Distress ink, and it is barn door. And it was $1. And what you do with these is you squeeze them into your ink pads, and it enhances the have a festive berry and another sort of a red, brick red. So this is a red, so more like a holly red, but it's called barn door. It was $1. And then this is something I've never seen before. This is called a crystal drops, and it says add dimension details to craft projects. And I guess it's probably like what we would call stickles. And I haven't used it yet, but it does have a little dispenser type thing in it that you can use. And it is, I guess it's a kind of a light lilac color, or it's called Crystal Drop Silver Lining, so it's a silverish. So we'll experiment with that. But again, if I just get like where I need to get some ideas together, if I go to the thrift store and look through, and I have areas where I look at the lace, I look at the buttons, I look at the threads, I look at the yarns, and I look at the paints, and then the paper products, and then so these are beads. Actually, they have a little hole in them, and so those would be really good if I was working. In fact, I may be able to use it with the green when I'm working on the baby girl journal. For 25 cents, I got this trim, and for $2.50, I got it's a 5/8 of an inch heart. I have some larger ones. I think I have as large as 3 inches, but I didn't have a really tiny one, so this will be good for that. And it doesn't look like it's been used. It looks very, very new. Sometimes you can get things and, you can go in and you can see that, well, it's not exactly what I want and the price isn't right. Some things I feel like that they spend a lot of time pricing, and the prices are just a little bit too high. Here's an example of 200 eyelets, and they're white, light pink, dark pink, and red. And they are from Stampin' Up. And they were $3. I guess it was brand new. Or I don't know if any had been taken out. I also can find stencils. Lots of stencils. Stencils, this one, It's Your Day. It's by the company called Ellison. They make machines for sliding things through and coming out with maybe like a silhouette type of a thing. But this is an actual stencil that you would lay something on, lay on and do a stain on. This is an interesting one in a blue moon. And I looked it up, and this company is from a girl called McKenna Ryan, and her website is www.pineneedles.com. And for $1, I got 5 of these little sets that would just go great in the pocket as a little addition or add-on to a book. to a junk journal, giving just a little extra something to play with. And this is the way it came. It had this wrapped around it, and it had these 5 taped together. So it was going to be a fun thing to use in pockets. And then I find sewing things. It was $1, and what it is I guess it's a factory who just used clear threads. I sometimes use clear threads. They're sort of hard to, sometimes I only use them on one side. So in this case, the upper thread would be a spool of thread, and then the bottom would be these. So for $1, I got all of these that I'll be using for a while. And then this right here was more expensive, $2 and $1.50. So basically 50 cents each, and it had thread on it. But this particular kind of bobbin supposedly doesn't fit in my machine, or it's not one that I would buy for my machine because it's just a tiny bit shorter, but it works on my machine. And these do work, so I will be able to, after I run out of the white thread. And I did need some more bobbins. I found this, which is single pocket pages. And what what I plan to use these for is as sleeves for putting something in, kind of like a glassine bag, but instead of a glassine bag, I would use this and maybe sew around it. So they are, or unless I could find a book that I could use them with, because they have the two. And I do find books occasionally, but when you look on the inside, if it's a ring binder, you can't find the pocket pages for, this is 6x6 scrapbook pages. And sometimes you can't find, what the size that you need. In fact, I'm having that problem now with the book that I'm working on. Here's some other things that I have found along the way, which I've got to figure out how to use this. And that's this Fiskars compact stamp press that I paid $5.50 for, and it had never been opened. I don't know how much it is full price. I didn't check that. But it's one of these, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. You arrange the stamps, ink, and press down. So it's one of those, but it's a Fiskars brand. And then in the area where I live, I have, there's several universities that have art as a major, and they offer book binding classes. And, so this is what that is. It's a big book, probably 16 by 12 or something like that. But I won't use the book itself. Once I had my husband cut out a book from one of these, but I'm going to use this for the paper. It's this wonderful deckled edged paper that will be just great to use, as writing spaces in junk journals. And then I found this. I had seen this in the thrift store before, and it was kind of mangled. But most of the pages seem to be intact. So this is Project Life, and it was 616 cards, and it was $6. And I looked on Amazon, and I'm sure that you can get them for less than that, but on Amazon, this package was $60. And I look here underneath, and I have no idea what, I had to peel that off to see what it says, but it's 50 something. So as I look through this, I can see that, like, this had never been opened. This one's never been opened, which I kind of like this one. It says Memories. I like the way that Project Life cards are so versatile. and they have room on the back for you to write. So they're really great. These are the 2 packages that had been opened, but you can see that it's still quite a few of these are intact. And then this one also. So I'm thinking, how am I going to use 600 tags? But I just have to make books with a lot of pockets in them, I suppose, in order to get that. So a couple of more things that I have found, you know, when I come out of the thrift store, I feel like I have, you know, come up with some pretty good ideas. For instance, if I go to the thrift store because I'm looking for something purple, or I want, you know, a purple something, because the coloration in the book. So this is one that has that wire on it, so I would probably pull that off. And, you know, you can easily, if it's pulled up, you know, pulled out, it's easy to make a ribbon. And then, so in looking for purple things, and I found this, and then in the same bin, I found some of the now this was $1.50, and this was $1, but it is the strip of, and it's taped, and I don't want to pull it too hard, but it's the beads. So, you know, the 2 of these things complementing each other. So when I come home, I feel like that I've made a head start on a book if I have 2 things that I can use in them. Something like these are 50 cents. I have found partially put together beads, or partially emptied beads. Actually, this one looks like this is all there is to it, and it's 50 cents. It's called Studio 112. SpottedCanary.com. Interesting. Here's more. Here's another one that's just a little tiny thing, but it had some really tiny little beads, or bling, I should call them. It's 25 cents. And then here's one that was $1.75, and it was a whole set of these teardrop ones. So just a lot of things to any kind of ribbon. They always tell you how much it is, how many yards it is, and then what the price is. So, you know, you kind of have an idea of how much you're going to be using, and use that type of thing. But so these are things that most of these are little trinkety kinds of things, but they're very useful, and they help kind of pump me up for giving me ideas of how to enhance my junk journal. So, and most of these things you find at the bottom of a bin, and you know, have a fairly decent price on them. And you know, the hard part's coming home with this big bag of goodies, and then figuring out, you know, where you're going to put them. And like, I have a box just for bling, or I have a box, you know, for ribbon, or a box for hem tape, and that sort of thing. But it takes a while to organize after I come home with this varied bling. But thanks for coming along, and we'll talk again soon.